Welcome back to the Heart and Home channel, where we are pursuing our dreams slowly but surely by building this Barndominium home / shop house. Last week we got quite a bit of stuff done here. This week we are going to be tackling the front side of the Barndominium, and I guess we'll see if we can get all the way through it. That'd be pretty great if we could, but we'll have to wait and see. Alright, so today's the day. I got my shims here. They go on the posts of the battery to make the things that clamp around them fit better, and so hopefully this will do the trick. I would really like to be able to turn the key in my car and start it. I've been dealing with this for a long time, so hopefully this will be the answer to our problems. Okay, new batteries in place. Please start. Test of time is just going to be, if this keeps dying, then obviously it's going to be not as a result of that fuse that burnt out. So we'll see if this ends up fixing it long term or not. First up is house wrap, so let's get going. Alright, so the first thing I did was go over this with the heat gun, just because everything is just a little damp. You know, we got a lot of moisture in the air. Just want to make sure that everything is extra dry so that we get lots of really great adhesion all across the windowsill here. Two windows all wrapped up now. I think now I'm just gonna prep some steel and try and convince Whitney to let me borrow her for a little extra long to do both of these windows tomorrow. Hopefully we can make it quick in under an hour.
Down here.
Bottom first.
Okay.
And then make sure your feet are off.
My tooth is chipped. No, a little chip in my tooth.
What was that?
My tooth is chipped.
You're gonna be what?
My tooth is chipped.
Oh, how did that
Just
happen?
a tiny one.
How'd you do that? Hit it against something?
I have no idea. I'm just seeing my reflection and I see your little chip mess.
I chipped mine on a wine bottle in college. If it makes you feel any better.
You were laughing or something?
I just went.
You can't really tell.
Oh, that's good.
Once you get set in place, I think you want, from what I've heard, you want to put in a nail in about in every other slot, and try and get them in the middle of that hole if you can, so it has room to wiggle around a little bit. I like to use a block here to kind of keep myself from hitting the window. Just do that just on the sides and the top, and not on the bottom, because that we don't want it to interfere with water coming out of the bottom. One thing I'm not 100% sure on is what nails to use. I'm using roofing nails just because the flathead works well with everything else. I think that's what I've seen other people use. So definitely getting ring shank wouldn't be a terrible idea. You could try that too. But these have worked well for me when I've done this in the past. So this is what I'm using. Feel free to leave a note down in the comments what fasteners you think I should use. One thing to note before you put your window in, cut a diagonal line up from the top of your house wrap, just like here, and then get a little piece of tape and tape that up so it's nice and out of the way when you're installing your window. Then once you have it all nailed in, we let that go down here, and then we're going to tape the edges back up here. Okay, so the next part, now that we have our edges taped up there, we're gonna put our waterproof tape all along the right and left. Now we're not going to tape the bottom again because we want water to come out of the bottom, but we're gonna do the right and the left and then over the top. So just as a quick note, the kind of logic that you're going to want to have as you're going through and taping everything is that you want to have all your seams lap like this, so that water goes over the top and flows continuously to the bottom. If you have it like this, then the water might get stuck, and if you have like any creases or anything like that in the tape, it could get in there and then find its way inside eventually. So generally everything like this. But now once you got your sides done, then it's time to do the top. Now one thing you can do in here is to make sure you get good adhesion from the tape. You can cut a little bit right down the middle of your flange there. Oh, that was not good. Don't do that. Let the tape fix that real quick. All right, so now you can see down in here, got a little bit of the plastic for the tape to adhere to, so that'll get nice and stuck, because with the paper, it's just gonna flap around. And then you got a little bit above here on each side. You just want to make sure that you lap over both of those. All right, and that is just about it. If it's cold out, you may want to get a heat gun and help it stick to the surfaces that it's on, but other than that, that's about it. That window's ready to be sided against now. All right, windows are all taped and waterproofed. Now we're just gonna do the bottom wainscot, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep things from getting too crazy if the wind decides to pick up. Oh wow, the sky is amazing today, as usual. Just incredible. I love these weather. productive day. Got both windows in and the wainscot and the trim. Did some folding there just in case that appears outside of the corner, but I don't think it will. But yeah, all that's left to do now, I'm just gonna do some caulking on the joints here, and then one thing I'm gonna do that I haven't done yet, but figure better late than never, I'm gonna put some tape that goes over, that bridges the seam between the house wrap and the trim here. That way any water that gets behind the steel up here will come back over the top of this trim and then be pushed out of the envelope. So I think that'll work out pretty good. But yeah, went pretty awesome, and I'm looking forward to starting on the upper part here, getting this wall all finished up. When you build your own home, do yourself a favor and put gravel all the way around your house by about, like, I don't know, 8 feet or something. Pushing the scaffolding around in the dirt has been really difficult this morning, and I'm already feeling spent for the day, and it's like 8:30. So yeah, do that. This is going to be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to get that in there. Not really sure what to do here. Okay, so I cut a 1/4 inch off of this thing, and we'll see if that was enough to do it. Enough to do the trick. Looks like it's not going to be enough, unfortunately. Oh, shnikes. That's not good. Well, that was not intended. That was very brittle. I'll have to fix that at some point. Unintended consequence. Alright, so as you can see behind me, we got quite a bit done yesterday. My dad came and helped me out, and we got 3 panels up and the rest of the house wrapped. So that worked out pretty well. Thank you again, Dad, for being here to help me out. That was super helpful. These really long steel sheets are really difficult to manage, so having 2 people, I think this is like one of the very few things that I've run into where I really feel like I have to have 2 people. Yeah, it was difficult. But I wasn't able to get video footage on there again because my tripod was being used because of the laser. Thankfully I got some new ones coming in, so hopefully that'll work out pretty good. After this wall's up, there's really not much left to do until we get our soffit. I think that's coming in on the 4th of next month, so about 2 weeks from now. So that should give us just about enough time to finish up what we're doing here. Yeah, it's been a crazy time. Things have, you know, I talked a little while ago about things getting in the way of your build, and certainly have a great example of that recently. I ended up getting picked for jury duty for the 3rd time since I've been married. I think it's since I've been married. So in the last 11 years, 10 or 11 years, I've been picked for jury duty 3 times. And, you know, most of my friends, Whitney included, have never been picked. So supposedly it's random. I haven't had to actually go in and do a case yet, but we'll see if I end up getting picked this time. So I guess it could be worse timing, but yeah, this certainly is not a good time for that kind of stuff, especially if it's a long trial. Like, who knows how long that sort of thing is going to take. So this is just exactly the kind of stuff that happens, and it's kind of annoying. Yeah, making progress on the house. It's not looking too bad. So I can't remember if I said this or not, but it's worth reiterating. One of the things that I'm doing that I would really recommend anyone else doing a similar project emulate is when you're pre-drilling your steel, lay it out in the same direction that you're going to be looking at it when you're putting it up on your building. This way I saved my bacon a few times here, making sure that I drill the holes in the correct way. So yeah, like I'm putting this steel on the face that's behind me, so I'm laying it out this way, so this will be the exact way that I'm putting it up. Just makes everything a little bit easier to understand, and I definitely recommend everyone else doing the same thing, especially if you're a noob like myself. I think the next step for me today is going to be putting in the base trim here at the bottom. I need to cut out some spacers here, and I'm just going to hold it up there and start putting it in. So you might be seeing me pre-drilling a bunch of these holes in the bottom here and wondering what I'm doing. And the issue that I've been running into is that the wood is not dense enough, or it's too soft, and it's unable to pull the thick part of, you can see near the head of the screw here, it's unable to pull that thick part through the wood, and so it's not able to get a good seal. So what I've been doing is using a thicker drill bit, just a tiny amount thinner than that thick part of the screw head there, and boring in about 1/4 of an inch, and that way the screw is having a much easier time getting through, pulling itself through to the point where it creates a good seal around the screw, around the neoprene washer. So that's why. All right, so next up is finishing up this corner piece here. The instructions don't really tell me how this is supposed to go. They do a decent job of doing the fly rafter application of this, but on the corner, I suspect with the wainscot, with this center trim here, that it's not going to go over that super well. So I've seen RR Buildings, the way he does it is he does the bottom piece first, and it kind of just barely, it goes right here, overlaps, and then overlaps this steel here. It may go underneath this, I don't know yet. And then he has one piece that comes down from the top there to here. So once I figure that out, then it'll be a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so I did a little test here. I'm fairly confident this is not how they intended me to do it, but I do kind of like the look of this. And so this piece here is not supposed to go, it's not deep enough to really fit over this perfectly, but with a little bit of stretching, it does a good job, and it'll hide the corner here, which is great. And I just think it looks pretty clean. I mean, it's already using the line of the wainscot, so I think that I'm gonna go with this, and then just caulk around the bottoms here and make sure no water gets in there. Okay, I think that turned out pretty decently. Certainly isn't absolutely perfect, but overall, it's still, all the main break is along the wainscot line, so it doesn't really add anything like disturbing to my eye. And just caps off that corner real nicely, I think. I think that turned out okay. Yeah, I like it. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got quite a bit done. I'm happy with it. And I'm really looking forward to finishing off this face of the building next week. Yeah, I'm excited. Things are coming together. If you guys found this video insightful or entertaining, please hit that thumbs up button as it helps us a great deal. And if you're not afraid of going against the grain of society to pursue the life that you want to live, then consider hitting that subscribe button, as I think we're going to have a lot of cool stuff that people who are maximize their quality of life on a budget, I think those types of people are going to want to see what we're going to do. I'll catch you guys later and see you next week.